So the pettiness continues. And old media is afraid. Old media is fearful of new media. Now, the lesson that I think every one of us in independent media have to look at is how not to fail. We have to break apart the Telecoms Act. We have to break apart the monopolies that corporate media has had the privilege of ruling the world over, spreading its lies and misinformation. And the establishment media has been caught with its pants down. They've been revealed for the frauds that they are, but yet the jealousy continues to fester. Now, I have my criticisms for, of all these social media platforms. I know there's a lot of people right now cheering that X is the new media. And to be clear here, it is by far the most popular app right now. And as it stands, Elon Musk is riding that wave. Fine. But the backlash from the powers that be, CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, CBS, and yes, by proxy a little bit, even Fox News, they all realize that they are dying brands. And in my personal opinion, Fox News will be the last one standing. But ABC News, home of the mouse, Mickey's a little bit upset. He's upset at a certain podcast, or he's at the ABC chairman. One of the chairmen is upset with a certain podcaster, Joe Rogan. The pettiness festers. The arrogance continues to grow. And when you see these people in establishment media starting to panic, they're realizing that the viewing audience that they once had is, number one, dying off. And number two, the newer generations, most notably, and to be clear here, boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z, everyone's starting to become unplugged by corporate media. MSNBC and CNN are hemorrhaging views, and even ABC News sees the writing on the wall. Are they in a tight spot like MSNBC and CNN? Not so much. But as they are in the communal shower and they drop the soap, new media is coming out there saying, I'm next to ABC, because ABC chairman is upset and triggered by podcaster Joe Rogan. And the pettiness grows. Watch.
Jane Norman.
Hello, Kim. Thank you for your address today and welcome back to the club. I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America. And he's in...
Oh, bro market. Gee. Hey, why do you think people listen to his show? Maybe it's because he engages with his guests and actually has a dedicated community. And remember, listen, you can have your criticisms for Joe Rogan, but I remember, and I've seen videos of him in the early day, he didn't just wake up one morning, oh, where did these 3 billion supporters and views come from? Where did all this stuff come from? He started at the number 0. All of the media is upset that, he caught them off guard with a left hook, right hook, because no one's buying their crap anymore. They're upset now that somebody's more popular to them. And we saw this also take place during the first YouTube adpocalypse. That's why it happened. A lot of those journalists from Vice, Vox, and BuzzFeed were jealous at YouTubers. That's how it got started. Of course, that's a shorter version of it, but that's the origin of it.
Influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion.
And we're the 3 billion.
And I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon. I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society.
Oh, wow. Okay, so hold on. Wait a minute. You're making an accusation. You're saying that Joe Rogan is profiting off of people's fears and concerns, or do you ever think that maybe Joe Rogan is instigating conversations with people so that we can have a clear idea about what's going on here? Now, as I've said to you, my audience, when I do this show, I expect all of you to also do your own research too. That's what I love about my audience. Some of you have come into this live stream chat enlightening me about stuff that I didn't know about. So the thing is, a good show host, a good content creator, a good person who does commentary and analysis encourages audience to do some free thinking too. Okay. Now, I'm not going to speak for Joe Rogan, but I will acknowledge one thing about corporate media, and that is the only way they can explain their downfall is by making new media seem predatory or parasitic, which is not the case at all. And we have been fighting tooth and nail to get a strong foothold and establish a beachhead in the realm of the establishment media and how they've been misleading so many people. This is called projecting, because I've seen ABC, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post promoting fear. Uh-oh, here come Russiagate. Uh-oh, Orange Man bad. Uh-oh, Hunter Biden laptop story, Coca-Cola classic disinformation. What do you mean there are no WMDs in Iraq? Pot calling kettle black, aren't you, corporate media? Because there's a treasure trove of times in which the establishment media has been predatory and parasitic to people, which explains why there are so many TikTok meltdowns happening because of the propaganda from establishment media. The mouse, preys on your fears. Be afraid, or Mickey will get you. I'm under your bed,
And they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative. I personally find it deeply repulsive. And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
Thank you.
Jason Katsuki.
That was a stupid response from a very small and petty little man, okay? And this is ABC Chairman Kim Williams, okay? He was at the National Press Club in Australia, Canberra, okay? Saying that people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. Why are you saying people are vulnerable? See, what they call vulnerable is you being a free thinker. What they call fear is you actually speaking out. They want you to listen to Commissariat Hans of the political police. Follow the orders. Eat the bugs. Do not question anything. My deputy will start collecting your papers. But see, again, we see the establishment media panicking. I mean, yesterday we covered a video like this here. Look at this guy. The CEO of Axios. No, you're not the new media. Stop it. I'm going to go on a profane tirade right here. Stop it, guys.
Matters. Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media.
No, you're not. You're not the media. I'm so angry.
You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter any more than me looking at your head and seeing that you have a brain and telling you have an awesome set of tools makes me a damn neurosurgeon, right? Like what we do, what journalists do, what you did in Mississippi, what Al Jazeera does in the Middle East. You don't proclaim yourself to be a reporter. Like, that's nonsense. Like, being a reporter's hard, really hard.
That's what she said. Being a reporter is hard, really hard. That's what she said.
Nonsense. Like, being a reporter's hard, really hard. You have to care. You have to do the hard work. You have to get up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth without any fear, without any favoritism. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody.
Woo! Look, Morning Blows there. Yeah, you were a big boy, weren't you? You cried in public. Cry harder for me. Cry.
Oh, first of all, I've got to say, extraordinary content. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said. When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down about not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do.
Yeah, there we go. And by the way, bride's biscuit, yum, 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 yum. Keep going. I like seeing the deer eating the popcorn in your profile. Chef's kiss on the liberal tears. Excuse me for that. Agreed. Agreed 100%. 10,000%. They have nothing better to do now than project their fears because they're losing the views. They're losing the money. Why do you think good old Mika blinked twice and Morning Blow himself had to do a little sit-down interview with one Donald Trump? Oh, no. It's because they got a phone call from the producers, from the bigwigs, from the board of executives saying, hey, you guys are hemorrhaging views. Hey, we're losing the money. Hey, all of you bastards are going to have to take a pay cut. You know, when I had Nick Thompson on the show, you know, we talked about Rachel Maddow. She went from 30 million now to 25 million. So she lost a $5 million pay cut, you know. These people who deliver the news, they're only in it for the profit. They're only in it to follow orders. They're only in it to read a script. They're not serious about informing you about how politicians are doing insider trading or how these politicians are screwing us over and also dancing us to WW3. They're not going to tell you about how our infrastructure is falling apart and how corporations that are running our railways and airplanes are in the back pockets of many of these politicians, thus being protected. They're not going to cover how there's abuse in the prison industrial complex. They're not going to tell you about why there's a war on drugs. They're not going to tell you the real reasons why there's a crisis at the border. They're not going to talk to you about how the NSA, CIA, FBI are spying in on you. But Joe Rogan, very bad. Social media, X, YouTube, very bad. Independent media, very bad. Yeah, corporate media, look at me. I'm your villain. I'll be your Huckleberry. Okay? I'm your villain. I'm the real bad guy. Me and my fantastic audience, we are the media. You had your time, and now it's over. And like the great Brontosaurus, taking your last gasp of air, you fall out and you die out, like all the other dinosaurs. I like to say that you'll be missed, but I think everyone's going to be dancing on top of your grave. So the only thing we'll regret is we can't be doing a selfie with you, except above your grave, corporate media. So ABC, keep crying. MSNBC, keep crying. CNN, keep crying. And Axios, cry harder.
Radio station just censored the word devil. Clearly, we are on a different level. I guess you wouldn't notice all the rolling boulders crashing past your shoulders when you're taught to shift your focus lower, scream at all the pebbles. Cheering on the bombers because you can't abide the rebels. But I bet you'll wring your bloody hands when all the dust has settled, when the last little limb is pulled from Gaza's twisted metal. Then you can say how you were led astray, and never once in all your days would you have knowingly supported all the genocide for which you clapped and prayed. But they baited you with unconfirmed blurbs about babies until you were filled with rage. Yet someone told you babies had been starving, bombed, and caged for nearly 80 years in Gaza, and you looked the other way. So regret, but make it fashion. Go and pluck that final petal off a hyacinth on Instagram for every kid they kettled. Every son that Israel imprisoned when they're little, that they tortured for a decade, then surprised with their acquittal. And when they got released and saw their parents, and whenever siblings hadn't met the missiles, they stared right through their middle. Their eyes don't seem to focus, and their words are all but dribble, like they're pondering the darkest riddle. That is, how many false flags does it take to make humanity inhuman and uncivil, distorted by the revel? The crooked slant where Israel contorts into America, Biden bathing Bibi in a bloodbath in the bevel. I opened up my feed and I saw children disassembled. Turned some music on and heard the station censor devil. Imagine thinking Doja Cat's a threat to moral fabric in the single largest terror cell that ever felled a temple, that ever sparked a cleansing, that ever burned a market, that ever raped with bayonets or carpet-bombed apartments, that ever turned your water off and left you in the darkness, left you doing surgery on children while they're conscious. You sing the devil's praises every time you sing our anthem. You sing a hymn to him that watched us birth a million phantoms. You'll proudly wave his flag, and yet you will not name the devil? Well, clearly, we are on a different level. I can give you names, shit, I'll give you several. They say the devil wears a different face for every general, like a composite of the char he brought to fields of emerald, and the wail of every childhood we made ephemeral. So who else has left the stain of blood on everything they touch? Who else can starve civilians and they don't so much as blush? Who else has paid for Gaza being flattened into dust? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. That's U.S. What an ugly couple letters. Feeding shit and ignorance to those it chose to tether. From the river to the sea, both are slowly growing redder. For the devil that you know just knows you better. It knows every gut reaction it could ever make you feel. It knows fear is that which wakes you up and gets you on your wheel. It knows just the kind of story that will justify its war. And the scripts are wrapped for World War IV. So just imagine my surprise to give the radio a listen and to hear such pious morals out of Zionists and Christians that they'd take the devil's name and try to clip it from existence while they carry out his bloody business. You would wave a fascist flag, and yet you honor not your Iblis? Name you not Apollyon? Hush you now your witness? Bleed the name of Belial till tongue is rolling listless in the man-made mouth of Mammon, as Lamia's whispers listen. When carts are wheeling bodies through the cities that we crushed, and the very air is rotten with decay of all that was, who else would censor devil yet behave as Legion does? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. U.S., but not a unity of souls. More a mass of corporations turning houses into holes, turning people into puppets, turning puppets into mold, turning mold into nutrition bars worth their weight in gold because they're bombing every bakery and burning every field with phosphorus that never once has wanted for a meal. The devil wears a mask and it delights in the reveal, in that moment where the face is let to peel. We do not love the underdog. We do not cheer the rebels. We lust for all their blood until the dust has finally settled. Then pity just ourselves that we were so misled to revel. Proudly wave his flag, and yet we will not name the devil.